Hey there, tribe. How are you? I hope that you're well. I'm thinking today about reality, and part of my job as a shamanic healer is to work within reality and to actually work within multiple realities, and ultimately to create the reality that is going to be most beneficial for the whole, for everyone on the planet. And there are so many ways to create the reality that we want, personally, community, and globally. And my job and what I feel called to do is to share with you some tips and tricks for creating the reality you want to create and changing what you want to change in your life. And the way that tools are given to me are easy. They need to be easy so that we can implement them. And so today's reality changer is using your questions to activate answers. I want you to start looking at a question in a little bit of a different light than maybe you have been before. Questions, the very nature of them, instigate an answer. Questions are like magnets for the answer. And questions exist that way in the physical, but they also exist that way in the invisible and in the energetic realms. And so when we ask a question and we stop and pause, we are allowing the answer to bubble up. When we ask a question and then instantly try to start answering it, we really interfere with all the help that's available to us. There's help available to us from our guidance system. There's help available to us from the invisible realms where our ancestors live. There is help available to us just from our own energetic field. Your physical being has an energetic being or energetic field that it sits in, and all of the answers that you need, all the information that you need, actually lives somewhere on some point in your field. And what you can do when you ask a question is call up the answer from your field. You don't need to know where the answer lives. You don't need to know how far away it is. You don't need to know what the details are. All you need to do is ask the question and then pause and allow the answer to start bubbling up. And then you'll find that you get insights and knowings, awarenesses, and clues that help you to answer the question. For me, what this looks like is when I am struggling with something. Sometimes I struggle with a decision. I often struggle with decisions. Sometimes I struggle with an interaction that I'm going to have with a family member. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, this is going to be terrible, how can I get through this? I ask for what I want in the form of a question. So what that looks like is, how can this be easy? And I ask that, and then I just pause and let the energy do its work. I ask, how can things go well for both of us if I'm in a situation or conversation with someone? Or I say, how can this go well? And by me asking in the form of a question for what I want, it starts to magnetize anything that matches or anything that is a response to that question. If I ask, how can this go crappy, or how can this get any worse? Then the field and the invisible world is going to show me how it can get worse. But if I ask, how can this get better? How can this be the best it can possibly be? How can I succeed? How can I get whatever it is that I want? The money for the new car, the scholarship for the class or the education, anything that I want. How can I get it? What would it take for me to be able to have access to that? I use this all the time, and it never ceases to surprise me. I ask the question and then I leave it, which allows the answer to come in, and it also gives me the opportunity to receive, which is something we can all be a lot better at. So I invite you today, when you're struggling with something or when you want something, instead of trying to figure it out, to ask a question that will bring in the ingredients and the clues that become the answer. If you like this, feel free to share it with your friends. The more people we have asking questions and pausing for the answer, the bigger our world can be. Okay, that's my share for now. Have a beautiful day.